Coming up on CinemaKC, we take you behind the scenes and behind the camera, interviewing some of Kansas City's hottest filmmakers.
We'll show you a film about making roadkill a culinary treat.
And a documentary about a Kansas City man who inspires us all.
And helps during tax time. CinemaKC starts now.
Roll cameras.
Camera 2 speeds.
Scene B1, take 1.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to CinemaKC, your own personal film festival. I'm Erin McGrane.
And I'm Michelle Davidson. Thanks for joining us. We're here in the beautiful Outpost Studios with Michael Wunsch and Sarah Strnad with Outpost Worldwide. You guys are jacks of all trade. You do feature films, commercials, web videos. You really do it all, and on both sides of the state line.
Right, we're in the Lenexa office, but didn't you just open an office in the Crossroads as well?
Yes, our post-production is down in the Crossroads. Really, fortunately, due to a robust service business, we've managed to work our way into the entertainment business. Thanks to a consistent business base here in Kansas City, because this is our home.
And you have a very entertaining short film that we're about to see.
And Sarah's a vegetarian.
So this is my favorite piece. Yeah. Well, the title of it is Roadkill. Let's take a look.
Can't wait.
This ain't New York City, and this ain't the streets of LA, but this is some good eating in Kansas. I'm Michael Kaufman, and I cook roadkill stew.
Roadkill stew, with some pretty nasty ingredients, scraped off the highway near his home in Lecompton, Kansas, and ground up, ready for the cooking pot.
I'm on the sheriff's list. They call me when a deer has been hit on the highway, or other animals, beaver, foxes, coons, groundhogs. I won't cook skunks. You can't cook the skunk smell out of skunk, and it'll ruin your pot. I tried black snake once. Oh, my friend's mother wanted to kill us all. It stunk our kitchen up so bad. Possum can be the best meat you've ever eaten, or possum can be the worst thing that ever stepped into your kitchen. That fat will stick to the roof of your mouth, and like I say, it will be the worst experience of eating any roadkill you'll ever have.
Timing is essential for roadkill.
Well, first of all, you beat the flies to it. Fresh is best. If it's stiff, don't eat it.
Once he finds his fly-free roadkill, he gets cooking.
For richness, I like to put in some groundhog or some beaver or maybe some raccoon. On today's menu, we've got a little bobcat that I've been smoking, and now I'm going to slice it up and take some of the jerky off of it. Found this bobcat on 24 Highway, about 4 miles east of Perry, Kansas. You're eating an animal that's been free all of its life, and to me, that's very important. To me, when I eat my food, I like the stuff that's wild, that's lived a wild life, that's lived a free life. During the summer, I found 5 rattlesnakes along the road that had been fresh hit by a car or something, so I gathered them, put them in the freezer, but I just took them up to my ex-wife, and she cleaned them and saved the meat, and pretty soon we're gonna have a rattlesnake party.
Michael's friend Guy is a big fan of his cooking. The first roadkill he ever had was groundhog.
It looked kind of strange in the pot, and his eyes were still on there, so I had to cover his eyes up with foil. And after that, it smelled delicious, and we really had a good time eating it. As a matter of fact, I went back for seconds.
Roadkill, if somebody doesn't come and pick it up, it's gonna lay there and rot. It's not gonna be any use to anybody. Why not go get it? If you have to grind it, you grind it. You cut all the bad meat out of it. If somebody needs some of it, you give it away. I got it free. So if somebody comes to me and says, we don't have any meat in our house, can you do anything for us? And I say, let's go to the freezer.
Surprisingly, plenty of folks are eager to try his cooking. Here's his famous roadkill stew, with some groundhog, bobcat, rattlesnake, and caribou.
When we have parties, a lot of people will bring their musical instruments, their guitars, their fiddles. Well, I bring my pots and pans, and that's how I make my beautiful music.
It's great. It is super now. I recommend it to everybody here. Do you?
Coming up next, me.
I think I just lost my appetite. But it was a great, great project. It was actually made for television. Tell us about that.
Exactly. We had a client that we still do a lot of work with out of LA called Big Cat Productions. And they do nonfiction storytelling. So really that's a short nonfiction piece for a TV series that played on the Bio channel. Sarah produced quite a few segments. I produced segments. Our whole company got involved. Basically, they said, find strange stories out of the Midwest.
We did.
You did. You succeeded.
We went. I mean, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun.
Do you drive around and?
Yes,
hey,
we drove.
Well, the nice thing these days,
are you picking that roadkill up off the ground? You
No.
make a great television story.
Sarah wouldn't touch the roadkill story. She'd have nothing to do with that one.
It was a hard story to shoot for me.
What other kind of nonfiction stories were featured on this
Well,
show?
in this show, we went to England and filmed A Real Exorcist. We filmed Bigfoot Hunters in Paris, Texas. Villisca Axe Murders in Iowa, which was a little bit
And
chilling.
our partner Rob coming up plays a mean axe murderer.
He's the shadow. He's the shadow in the piece. So.
That's great.
But it's fun stuff because it's filmmaking based on real life things. So it's a lot of fun.
It's like
fun.
a documentary,
It's
essentially.
Mini documentaries, 4 or 5 minutes in length.
I have
Awesome.
to ask, did you eat some roadkill?
Absolutely.
I know you did not.
The funny thing is I took my son on the shoot and he said, Dad, that stuff's good. And so we had to stick around.
Go home
Plus
to your
the guys-
wife and say, hey, got a new recipe for you, hon.
Exactly.
Awesome
exactly.
stew.
All right.
Well, like you said, the important thing is beat the flies to it.
Okay,
That's what's important.
that's a good rule of thumb.
It's a good rule.
We'll be back with more CinemaKC. Welcome back to CinemaKC. Now, Kansas City's own Henry Block had quite a legacy. How do you condense that into a short film? Or documentary, or even an hour-long documentary at that?
It's a challenge, but a challenge welcomed. To work with such a business icon from our own city is a phenomenal experience. So the documentary we made was called The Entrepreneurial Life of Henry Block. No shortcuts.
Here it is.
I have in my head this imaginary discussion of Henry and his brother trying to figure out how they were going to build this company. And in an instant, I see this edifice standing there, which really is a testament to his greatness. And I drive up Main Street to the site of, I'm told, his very first franchise. And now my company is in the shadow of the current global headquarters of H&R Block.
My younger brother Dick and I started off as bookkeepers to the smallest of small business. Although that was 55 years ago, it almost seems like yesterday. Dick and I painted the words income tax on 2 4x8 feet pieces of plywood on our parents' driveway. This was our first sign.
For the first 8 years that my father was in business as an entrepreneur, he was relatively unsuccessful. For 8 years.
And this country is just built around the ability for entrepreneurs to find a way.
I think that the entrepreneur is the person who can see how things can be better and then is ready to take the risk and commit the time and really take the risk to start the company that will deliver the new goods and the new services. Again, think about Henry Block.
The United States was built in a way on entrepreneurship, on breaking barriers down and letting the artisan or the person with a good idea work that idea out without the traditional barriers.
You've got to have a dream. And my dad had a dream. And then you have to implement your dream. You have to have the guts to follow what your heart tells you to do. And he did that.
It's easy to say the business that he built, the arts contributions that he's made, the headquarters building that bears his name is his legacy, but I would argue it's the example to entrepreneurs who follow Henry like myself that really is his legacy, that you can be an absolutely brilliant businessman but still care about your community.
I wanted to give something to society, to be remembered for something. And I still think that's important.
There's something so Midwestern about Henry. He is so authentic and grounded and so committed to his family and his community.
He's an individual, but he's able to understand how an individual can make a huge difference in the lives of other people.
You need to work hard. You need to work overtime. You need to take care of your customers and avoid shortcuts.
Now, how did you get the opportunity to tell Henry Block's story?
Well, it was funded by a lot of philanthropists in Kansas City. Obviously, people like Henry, as we all know, just like the Kaufmans, have had such an incredible impact on this city. Their legacy and their story has to be told. We felt very honored that our company was chosen to make this documentary. We received footage from many other companies. We received footage from Take-Two and lots of places. So it was really a community effort to pull it off because you're dealing with archival material that comes from many different areas. The funny thing, when we began the project, Henry said, "I'm not sure anybody really want to hear my story." We said, "Henry, they might want to hear your story."
Humble man.
So a very, very humble man.
No.
And he would drive himself to the studio for the interviews, and he'd drive himself home. And he always wanted to get home to spend time with his wife, which was beautiful and awesome.
Did you learn a lot about him and from him? during this documentary?
Absolutely, totally. I mean, the main thing I learned from him is there is no shortcuts. That goes for filmmaking too. There's no shortcuts and there's no easy way, and he likes to call it the hard slog. H&R Block went through an 8-year hard slog. We all can relate to hard slogs in this economy, so there's a lot to learn from a Henry Block.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's a great project. We'll be right back with more CinemaKC.
Welcome back to CinemaKC. We're here with Rob Cecil of Outpost. Now, Rob, you've had the opportunity here at Outpost to work on a number of television shows that had multiple episodes and long series. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we've done quite a few different television projects that have been multi-episode. Specifically, we're going to watch City Sessions, which is a 50-episode series that we did for Dish Network featuring independent music acts.
Great. Well, this sounds really interesting. Were there interviews and things like that in your
Yeah,
show?
we did interviews as well as performance pieces.
Great. Well, let's take a look. This is City Sessions.
Hi, my name is Philip Sace, and welcome to City Sessions, Los Angeles.
From across the room, our eyes know. Get a sudden feeling down, 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 down. The sound of your panting's like a chanting. On my neck, I feel it like a prayer. Dare myself to lead you to a place. Erase all others in this world. Down, down, the music starts to play again. I feel our hips, they start to sway again. Down, down, the music starts to play again. I feel our hips, they start to sway again. We gather by the light, close our eyes to all we fear inside, all we fear inside.
On the Air started as a really rough kind of a song sketch idea. When I started writing the song, I was just kind of free writing, and it sounded like it was about a character who was maybe on TV at some point and maybe had a big disappointment in life. And it was one of the first times that I ever really wrote about a character who wasn't me.
Would you order on demand from the disembodied hand, from the moving lights up in the sky? 'Cause there was a time, you know, when I had my own live show. It was improvised for the camera's eye. It was made up in the ring, back when Bob Hope was king, back when every choice felt right, back when life was black and white. Now there's one thing I regret, how I wish I didn't care, how I wish I could forget I was someone then when we were on the air.
Wow, that was really interesting. So why did you start to make these?
Well, in that case, we were contracted by a group that was actually mining for talent, and the show was created for them to go and find independent artists, and hopefully one of them would break, and they would, you know, own a piece of something.
Like American Idol on the road, right?
Exactly.
So what other multi-series shows have you worked on?
Outpost has been lucky enough to have quite a few of those kind of projects. I worked for 3 years in Miami. We did about 750 episodes of Family Feud for the Latin market, so that was an interesting piece of our history. And several years in the past, we did a telenovela, a Spanish soap opera as well. So.
Wow, a lot of travel. What
Yeah,
interesting
lots
work.
of travel.
So you have some other things coming up too, I guess.
We're hoping. We're always pitching, and
Great.
right now we've got a, you know, we're trying to sink the hook right now. We've got a couple projects in the works.
Well, great. Well, we'll be right back with more CinemaKC. Welcome back to CinemaKC. So Sarah, for you, what's the best part of working in film and television in Kansas City?
It's the relationships we have with all the people that we collaborate and partner with. It is such a great community, and we're big, big supporters of everything and everybody here, our client base, and other independent producers and production companies. So I think just getting to do all this work at home.
What about working abroad?
Well, we've done work all over the world, really. So, you know, I mean, every project's an adventure, and we've been lucky enough to go on quite a few adventures. So.
That's great. Well, I'd like to take a look at some of your work, so let's do that right now.
You guys are obviously big believers in collaborating with other companies and clients and supporting the local filmmakers and supporting us here at CinemaKC. As you can see, we're at your Outpost Studios in Lenexa. Why is that so important?
Well, you know, we are based out of Kansas City, and we've been lucky enough to do pretty well. And so we came back, and one of the first things that we did is we said, you know, what can we do in Kansas City to make a name for ourselves and to help support the community? And we amassed quite a bit of production equipment and production expertise, and came back and decided the best thing we could do is collaborate with everybody here in Kansas City and try to make something happen in Kansas City.
Well, we sure appreciate it, that's for sure. And tell us, what's up next for Outpost?
You know, I think for us, it's to continue to use the resources that we have to help continually build independent filmmaking in this market, and whatever we can do to help kind of build business and let people know that Kansas City really is a place and a resource where you can come do some big things. We've got a lot of tools here that we would love to share with anybody that wants to get into the production world here.
Do you like making independent feature films?
Well, we've done a few of those, and it's a labor of love, and there's a lot of labor in it. So
and a lot of love.
It has been great, and we've had some really good experiences, and we're lucky enough that we've had some things break to Showtime and Redbox. It's nice to go and see your work somewhere, and it,
like Fight Night.
Yeah, yep. Fight Night, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, Sarah, thank you so much for your support of CinemaKC and coming on our show.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.